France and Germany are at loggerheads over the European Union's response to coronavirus, with member states desperately scrambling to create a bloc-saving coronavirus rescue fund. The global pandemic has exposed bitter divisions in the bloc and reopened old tensions from the financial crisis. In the fourth virtual summit of European leaders since the outbreak, Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron, the bloc's most influential heads of government, will be pitted against one another. Paris, with the support of Spain and Italy, are pushing for the creation of a so-called «corona bonds» that shares the debt burden for funding the bloc's recovery from the coronavirus crisis. Mr. Macron believes at least an extra €1 trillion is needed for any EU recovery fund. However, his aides have conceded securing mutualized debt will be the most contentious issue at today's summit. Economic and financial solidarity is the most complicated subject. It provokes the most debate. Berlin is heading up a group of frugal nations, including Austria, Denmark, Sweden and the Netherlands, who oppose the plans. The fiscally conservative northern member states believe it would be unfair on their voters to underwrite the debts of their more perceived imprudent southern neighbors. Because of the divisions, Charles Michel, the European Council's president, has scrapped plans to issue joint summit conclusions. The former Belgian Prime Minister has instead allowed for a statement that does not require the unanimous support of EU leaders to be published after the meeting. Mr. Michel and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, the bloc's two senior officials, are hoping to use its next 7-year budget to underpin the coronavirus recovery. The Commission chief is hoping to deploy at least €2 trillion to help. The top Eurocrats have both called for a new Marshall Fund that replicates the US-led financing effort to rebuild Western Europe after the Second World War. But senior officials have suggested EU leaders will not be able to agree a new multi-annual financial framework before June or July. One senior EU official said, "Things are moving but so far choices have not been made. There is a bit of distrust because there are some countries that fear they will have to pay the debt of other countries." The debate is likely to reopen wounds after a recent scrap over the budget ended in a failed summit in February, before the coronavirus outbreak engulfed the continent. Mr. Macron is understood to be happy to take negotiations over the EU recovery package to the wire, with today's summit not expected to deliver an agreement. "We'll have to make a definitive choice in coming weeks. A rushed accord would be second-rate."